Hey everyone, I'm Jessica Sarrow, the Metadata Librarian for Digital Collections at Clemson University Libraries. In this video we're going to cover how to create an item set and add items to Omeka S. When you first log into Omeka S, you're going to see this admin dashboard. From here you will first want to create an item set that will house all of the items for your digital exhibit. So think of an item set as your collection of items you will have within your exhibit. To do this, go to the Manage Resources box here and find Item Sets, and then you can click on the plus sign on the right here. This will open the new Item Set screen and the Values tab. You'll then add metadata for a few basic properties to help describe your collection. There's no set template you need to use, so you can skip over the resource template property. For class, select the Dublin core type of collection. For title, you can add the title of your exhibit or a customized name that describes your collection. So the collection I'm going to work on today is titled Clemson Women in Architecture. The description field provides you a space to then further describe what your collection is about. So for the Clemson Women in Architecture collection, I'm going to put that this collection contains items related to the history of women in the School of Architecture at Clemson University. These three properties are the minimal information you're going to need to provide, but if you do feel there are additional properties you'd like to use to describe the collection, you can actually go to the list of Dublin core properties here on the right and select from a drop-down list of additional properties. So you can kind of browse these and see if there's anything relevant. For example, you could add, let's say, an extent, and you could further describe the extent of what the full collection contains. So for my collection today, I'm going to be adding one photograph and one news article. You also have the option to, let's close that out. You also have the option up here to change the access settings at the top of the screen. The lock icon shows that the item set is currently locked and can only be edited by you, the creator, or the site admin or global admin. If you click the icon, you can see it opens the set so it can be edited and added to by other Omeka S users. The eye icon allows you to make the item set visible to the public or private to the users of this instance of Omeka S. And then for the purpose of creating your exhibit today, you can leave the default setting of locked and public. Once you've completed the properties and settings, make sure you click Save. Now if you go to the item sets on the left navigation bar over here under Resources, you can see your set is now listed. If you click the ellipses over here, it will show you that metadata that you just created as well as your access settings of public and closed. If you do need to go back and make some edits, you can use the pencil icon here. That will take you back into this editing screen. Now that we have an item set created, we can start adding our items and assigning them to that set. First, make sure that you've collected all of your metadata in the metadata spreadsheet template that I provided earlier this semester. So you can see I've got mine open here in another tab on my browser. You can see I've got the two items that I mentioned, the photograph and the news article. And then second, make sure that you've saved the files for these items somewhere convenient. I've got mine saved to a folder on my desktop, which is titled with my exhibit name. So you can see I've got a PDF of the news article and an image of the photograph. If some of your items are articles that need to be cropped from a newspaper or a single page of maybe a multi-page PDF, you can use Adobe Acrobat Pro DC to easily crop the images. All Clemson students actually have free access to the Adobe suite of software, so make sure you've got Adobe Acrobat installed on your computer first. If we open up this Tiger newspaper in Adobe, you can see the article I'm interested in is the one titled Architecture to Become 6-Year Master's Program. I'll first want to delete the other 5 pages of the newspaper. You can see there's 6 pages total. You can do this using the Organize Pages tool over here on the right. So if you click here, it'll open up an image with, or a screen with all of the pages of the PDF. You can then select which pages you want to delete, and then come up here and use the trash can icon to delete. That leaves me with my one remaining page, so I can close this tool out up here on the right, and that'll take me back to my remaining page. And then from here I now want to crop out just the article, so I can go over to the right here and use the Edit PDF option. And this might take a second because it actually turns the PDF image into an editable text and image document. Okay, now that it's converted, before we actually crop the article out, I want to make sure that I've collected all the necessary metadata I need from this page first. So I'll want to refer back to this original newspaper issue so that viewers know where I cropped the article from. And as you can see, if we go to my metadata spreadsheet, here you can see that I've documented the title of the newspaper, the volume number, and the issue number, as well as the Tiger Prints URI for that specific issue, so that I can then put this in the metadata for this item and track it back to its original source. So now that I know that I've got all of that information, which I have pulled from this top portion of the newspaper, I can go ahead and crop out the article that I need. You can do this by using the crop page, which is up here on the top, so you can click crop pages. It will give you your little crop icon, and you can come down here and select the article that you want to pull out. Then I'm going to click enter. Go ahead and click OK. Those settings are fine. And now you can see I am left with just that article that I want to use. Then make sure to save the file when you're done. I'm going to close out this tool. Click Save here on the top left. Close this out. Let me pull up that file folder again. So a note on file naming. For both the newspaper file and the image file that I'm using, I actually kept the file names that were assigned when I downloaded them from Tiger Prints and the Clemson's Digital Collections website. Because I cropped the newspaper down, I could add crop to the title to then signify that it's no longer the full newspaper issue, so I can go ahead and do that now. Add in crop. If you have files that you collected from maybe external sources or digitized materials from the archive that are not published online and have not had conventional file names created for them, you can create your own consistent file naming convention. So one example could be to use an abbreviation of your collection name, or your own initials, or a combination of those, and a consecutive number after that. So in Women in Architecture collection, I could use a file name like CWA_JLS for my initials, and then _001. Then the next saved file would be CWA_JLS_002. If you need to keep track of these, you can go ahead and add a column in your metadata spreadsheet for file names. So for example, I could insert one column to the left here, title it file name, and then I could go back here to my files, copy this file name over, go back and copy the image file name, and then if I were to add additional items that weren't in the archive, I could start here with my CWA JLS 001, and you can go down from there. And then you'll have that file name that's then connected to the item title and all the additional metadata, and you'll know which file is which based on the name of the file. Okay, let's walk through adding these two items into Omeka S. So we're going to go back to our Omeka S instance up here. And then to add your first item, go to the Items under Resources on the left-hand navigation bar. From here, you can go to the top here and click on Add New Item. And now you'll see the Values tab for the item that you'll be adding. For your items, we've created a simple Dublin Core resource template to use. So from the Resource Template drop-down, you can select Simple Dublin Core Resource. Class is going to be the type of item you're adding. So if I first add my news article, that's a text document, so I'm going to select text. Your identifier is going to be a unique identifying string of text that will help you differentiate this item from all the other items in the collection. Now conveniently, Omeka S actually assigns a unique URI to each item that you add to the collection, and it's going to follow the URI formatting up here in your browser screen. But then after item, it will add a consecutive number. So for right now, we don't know what that number is going to be until after we save this record. So for now, we can come up here and select everything up until item and the backslash. Control copy to copy that over, and then paste into this field. And then we can put maybe an X to signify that we're going to come back and fill that in with the number. Now for the title and for most of this metadata, you can go back to your spreadsheet and pull everything from there. So I'm going to go back to my metadata template. And we're working on the news article. So here's the title that we're going to copy over. Paste it in. For type, this is going to be exactly the same as the Dublin Core type that we used up here, which is text. You can also refer back to your spreadsheet to see that as well, that you've selected text from this drop-down of options. The format is going to be application PDF. Because this is a PDF file, we'll paste that into format. And then language, we have linked to the proper controlled vocabulary. So we know that this newspaper was written in English, so if we start typing English in, there should be suggestions that pop up that you can select from. And that's also going to provide the URI for that specific value. For source, let's go back to our spreadsheet again. We can select this first portion, which is the source linking to the original, or source with the information of the original item. You can also add a URI, so if you click URI, that's going to add another field here for you, and you can go back and grab that URI from Tiger Prints. So if you have an item that's already been digitized, this is a great way to link directly to that full item. For rights, we're going to go back again to our spreadsheet. This is of course in copyright because it is a newspaper and it was published in 1967, so this is going to still be in copyright. So we can go in here and go to rights and select in copyright. This already pulls from rightsstatements.org. Date, we're going to copy our date directly as we have it formatted here. And then description, we've already got our description laid out here. Now currently this description is actually talking about the Tiger newspaper, Clemson University's twice-yearly literary magazine. If you have a specific article that you're describing, you can also put information in here about what the article is about and what it pertains to. Subjects, we have a few subjects that I've already kind of brainstormed about. So architecture, architecture and women, student publications, and periodicals. So the subject field here also links to the Library of Congress subject headings. So that is another controlled vocabulary that you can use, which will auto-populate some suggestions. So if I start typing in architecture, it should give me suggestions that I can then select, and again it provides that URI for you already. If you have more than one subject, of course, you can click the Add Value and keep on going. Now, I had already looked up these values on id.loc.gov, which is why they're already formatted properly and they're coming up. But this is a great area if you don't have subjects already brainstormed. You can kind of start searching here based on what your item is about. Now let's see, what else did we have here? Student publications and periodicals. Okay. Now for creator, our creator of the newspaper is Clemson University. If you have maybe an author of a published item, you could also put the author's name in here. The article that was in the Tiger that I'm using did not actually list an author name, so I'm unable to do that. But I can put that this is a publication created by Clemson University. I don't have any additional contributors. Coverage is going to be Clemson since it's the university newspaper. Try to search for some coverage areas within the controlled vocabulary for geonames. So if we start typing in Clemson, we've got the town of Clemson, which that works, and we can also do Clemson University. And then again, those provide the URLs for you. Now, publisher is going to be Clemson University since this is a university publication. So we can go back here and put in publisher. And we don't have any related resources at this point, so we're going to leave this blank. But you could use this to relate collections as a whole or relate other items to this one. There's a lot of opportunities for connecting specific data points with this relation field. I did forget to mention that the creator and contributor fields pull from Library of Congress name authority files vocabulary. So you can also link that from here, and it will provide you suggestions for name formatting. If you're searching for a name, it might come up as an authority file. So now that we've got all of our metadata input, we can now go over to the Media tab here next to Values, and this is where we're going to upload our actual file. So you can go to Upload. So I'm going to choose my file. Here we go. Here's my PDF of the news article. And if you want to add a title for the file, you could either use the title that you have on your spreadsheet here. We're going to add the title. And then we're going to move over to item sets, and this is where you're going to connect this specific item to your collection level item set that we created earlier. So if we go ahead and search for Clemson Women in Architecture, this one comes up. You can see that I was the creator of it. And now it's going to connect those together. Here to the right and click Add. And your item is successfully created. Now we're going to walk through this one more time just to give you a feel for how we're going to do this again for the image file. So we can go back to our items, click Add New Item, select Simple Dublin Core. This time we have an image, so we're going to choose the image class. Identifier, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add the URL. I'm going to put 2 X's for this one. Title, let's pull that data from our spreadsheet again. Type is going to be the same as our class. Whoops. Format, this is an image JPEG this time. Language, because there's no language involved in this image, we can leave that blank this time. Source, This one comes from UA 100 in Special Collections, so we can pull that information out for the source. Again, we've got a URI for the digital collections item, and that will point people directly back to where I found this item in the digital collections published materials. For our rights, we have in copyright. This item is most likely, because it's a photograph, a photographer may still hold copyright. So we're going to select in copyright. There is no date with this one, so leave that one blank. And description for this image, I just typed out some information about what is depicted in this photograph in more detail than what I have in the title. We're going to put in our subjects. Oops, not landscape architecture. Women, architecture and women, there we go. Let's see, what was our last one? Lee Hall. And if you want these to display in a certain order, you also have the option of reorganizing them on this screen. So you see the three little bars here. You can drag and drop these however you want, in whichever order you want them to display on your page. Creator is going to be Clemson University, because this is from the collection of items that were photographed for Clemson University specifically. And see, again, you can see that there are suggestions from Library of Congress Name Authority files. And I'm not seeing one specifically for Clemson University. So even if there's suggestions that pop up, if you don't see one that maps directly, you can still select what you entered here. It doesn't have to be a selection from the drop-down. We don't have a contributor. Again, we have Clemson, and we could also apply Clemson University again here, since it was a photograph taken on campus. And then our publisher is Clemson University Libraries. So I'm going to go down and add our publisher. Come back up to coverage. We've got Clemson. Clemson University. And that's it for this item. So then we're going to scroll back up, go to our Media tab, find our image file, and go back if you want to use the title for this, or again if you can use the file name, whichever you prefer for this. Whatever helps you find the item within the set list. And then item sets again, we're going to add this to my Clemson Women in Architecture collection, and then click Add. And here's all that metadata that you added in. So then you can come back to the items list, and you now see that the two items that I have added, the PDF text and the image, are showing in the item list. What we need to do now is go back to each item and pull that unique identifier that Omeka S has now assigned to this item. So you can see we've got item 14. So we're going to copy this, go to Edit Item, go to our identifier that had that XX placeholder, and replace it with the 14. Click Save. And we're going to do that with the PDF as well. So we've got URL, item 12, edit item, and replace this identifier. And there you have it. If once a lot of people start to add items, this list will get very large. So that's another great reason for having your item set So you can come here to item set, click on that set again, and then if you go up here to view items in the top right, that will narrow down to just the items in your set so you can find them easily. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And I'm also going to provide a few links below to the Omeka S guide that will provide additional step-by-step instructions on how to create item sets and items. Thanks, and good luck creating your exhibits!